Level 17 of My Little Underground. I'm Peter A. Follow the show on Instagram and Twitter at MLU Pod and subscribe anywhere you get podcasts. And here's an irrelevant fact. My favorite number is 2. Why should you care? Because today we got 2 special guests on My Little Underground. We got Pill, all the way from Brooklyn, and Netherlands' own Nana Adjoa. And Pill just dropped their second album, Soft Hell, on Mexican Summer, who are celebrating 10 years as a label this year. And Pill are playing their anniversary show on November 17th. And as I'm recording this, that is tomorrow, Saturday, Pioneer Works in Brooklyn. So if you're in town, definitely check them out. And if you can't make that show, don't worry, because Pill is also playing Rough Trade in Brooklyn, Williamsburg, December 14th. Let me just tell you, Rough Trade is a record store, but in the back, they got their very own venue. Yes, and I've seen some absolutely incredible shows at Rough Trade. I saw Hockey Dad from Australia a couple of years ago with Shark Muffin. And who else did I see? Uncle Acid, all the way from the UK, came through, and that was a hell of a show. Rough Trade is definitely a place to not only get great records and books and anything about music, but it's an amazing place to see a show. This is not a plug or anything. I've been to Rough Trade. It's an amazing spot. It's one of my favorite spots to hang out in Brooklyn. And Pill are playing there December the 14th. And I caught up with them at Trans-Pecos in Ridgewood, Queens. So let's welcome Pill to My Little Underground.
Well, thanks for wanting to talk to us again.
In person, yeah, it had to happen again because phone interviews are cool, but I love being in person for sure with y'all.
For sure.
So guys, thank you for doing this. I know it's busy, right before the show. A lot of things are going on with you, so I appreciate the time that you guys are taking to talk with me. So Friday, October 19th, this Friday, Mexican Summer celebrates 10 years, and that's not right. That's not right.
It's in November.
It's in November. No, the compilation's coming out this Friday.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Sorry. Right. The show. Just so you know.
The show is November 17th.
Oh yeah, we're going to talk about that.
The record's out tomorrow.
Yeah.
And it's already sold out.
Beautiful. That's
awesome. So you can download it.
You can buy. Can you stream it at all? I tried to look.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. So how important is Mexican Summer to you as a band?
I mean, they're an awesome label. We're all super pleased to be on their roster of artists, and also they are just all so lovely and take good care of us. So yeah, it's been a privilege.
Great. Awesome.
They also were excited about us developing as a band with each record and not interfering with that process too much.
Oh, great.
Yeah. For real. Yeah.
So your contribution your contribution to the compilation Naked Muse, is this from the Soft Hell sessions?
No, not even.
No?
It was right after they asked us to do it kind of on a whim before we were leaving for tour, I think. And then we were like, okay, and just jumped into the studio again. Very, very quick, just did it.
I think actually that every song on the compilation is a previously unreleased song, so
yeah,
that's pretty cool.
Oh, that's great. All the songs are exclusive to that.
Yes.
Oh, perfect. It just shows you how important Mexican Summer is to a lot of bands around here. Oh, not just in New York. They have bands from all over.
They do, yeah.
Yeah, I think they just signed Kate LeBon, which is awesome.
Okay.
Yeah.
Didn't know Joey do a few projects?
She's Canadian.
No, she's from
some crazy far off land.
Yeah. Farther than Canada.
So tell me about Naked Muse, the concept and everything that went into this.
Lyrically, I mean, it's about, the lyrics are pretty straightforward, where it's just it says Naked Muse makes her own music, where I feel like often women are kind of reduced in history to, this idea of they inspire the art, they don't create the art, which is totally untrue. They just were underrepresented, and so it's just kind of playing with that.
It kind of reminds me of that. Did you guys ever watch Californication? That show on Showtime?
David Duchovny.
Yep.
David Duchovny.
It's about weed.
Why don't you love him?
It's about his sex addiction, I think, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Well,
He's
you
a
could
creep.
get that from that, because
Yeah.
there's a whole lot of sex in it, but there's...
I mean, I know it's actually the Chili Peppers song.
Yeah, right?
Never
Exactly,
saw
so it
it.
all makes sense.
I know he
Yeah.
had to do something after X-Files that wasn't weird or like sci-fi, so he did like a romantic...
What is
something
it?
that painted him in
What-
like a sexy light.
What were you going to say?
Well, he was a sex addict too.
All right, okay.
Well, there was an episode about there's this woman that was with the main character, Hank Moody, right? I think that's his name. I haven't seen the show in a while, but there was this woman that was like a muse to this kind of macho, masculine metal band in the show. It was all very satirical. It just kind of the idea of making music, what you're talking about, reminds me of that episode. It almost to exactly what the concept of your song is about.
Yeah.
That was the first thing that came
That's
to my
it.
mind. Yeah. So if you watch that episode,
Yeah.
you're like, I have a song about that.
You heard it here. Maybe David can buy the song and
Yeah.
put it in his next show.
See? Yeah, that works out. Yep.
Hey, thanks for letting us chill in here, man.
Thank you.
Probably like a half hour.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay. I mean, I'll be back sometime.
All right.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks.
So the 10th anniversary show for Mexican Summer, November 17th, Pioneer Works.
Make a pot of coffee.
I had some already, so I think I had my caffeine fill. So this Mexican Summer Pioneer Works show, November 17th, is this an important show to you?
Totally. We were just talking about it in the car.
Yeah.
It's huge. It's like there's all these bands that we admire that are playing it that we are excited to play with. Like, we all love Ariel Pink. ARP is a really cool band.
And I think it's like an all-day event, kind of big blowout. Yeah, it'll just be fun, like to just all hang out. And Pioneer Works is an awesome space.
Yeah, it's actually benefiting Pioneer Works, the profits. So Pioneer Works kind of programs itself like a museum and artist residency, and they do crazy events. There's a recording studio in the backyard, so it's definitely like something that grows community in that way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think they just know each other. Like, they're good friends. The label, they're like heads of the label and heads of Pioneer Works. So it's a cool way to collaborate on that level. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Whereas most festivals like that, I feel like it's all just like Coors Light money. You know? It's like, cool. There's no, with that many people going, like, how they're going to, like, blow it out, make it, like, really big. It's cool to benefit a place that is going to put that money right back into the arts and stuff,
Yeah, and I know Pioneer Works, they've brought in a lot of bigger acts, non-New York City acts.
Yeah.
Like Sleep did a show there once, I
Yes.
think.
Yeah.
This Heat just played there.
Oh, yeah. I know
This
A
is
Place
not
for
the
Strangers.
Right. Same thing.
Yeah, I saw Lightning Bolt there.
Oh, yeah, that's
Yeah,
right.
that's super fun.
That's right.
They're really good about programming. We know the music programmer there.
Oh, cool.
He's a sweetheart.
You guys have played out in the streets, right?
Yeah, we played that.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
really fun.
I think 2016 you guys played. I just missed you when I walked in.
Yeah, we're big on the New York Festival game.
Yeah, see? Yeah.
We played
Northside.
We're actually not.
No, that's why I said that.
Well, you've done Northside before, right? Yeah.
Yeah. What I'm trying to say is, like, festivals, like, we play festivals outside of the U.S., but, like, we haven't really broken the seal in America yet.
Yeah.
Why do you think that's so?
I don't know.
I mean, we only have one
yeah,
record.
it's still a new band.
Second
Right.
record's coming out next week.
It's a new band.
Yeah. All right. And you guys, I mean, for a quote unquote new band, I guess, you guys have getting a lot of traction, a lot of press, I guess. A lot of people
That's
come
great.
share.
I hope so.
From what I see, you guys might not feel that way, but I see, Rolling Stone. talk about you
butterfly
guys.
flaps its wings,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Rolling Stone is cool. We're very excited about that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice to be in that context, I think. Like,
Right.
I think a lot, maybe we were a little too, I don't know, experimental for a lot of those bigger press outlets, but they put out the cleanest song on the new album. So that was really nice. It's cool to the one thing this band does is jump around in genres, and it's really cool to pop up in different contexts for that reason, you know?
Yeah, I definitely hear that. Convenience was a wild ride. It wasn't. It was just all over the place.
Yeah, it was a ride.
And I enjoyed it
too, man. Like, it
I
really
can't wait.
is. It's a ride.
Because it's kind of like, when I'm listening, the things that you probably didn't intend to be quote-unquote catchy are catchy, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, that's cool.
You know?
We intended everything on that record.
For sure.
Great.
Yeah.
And speaking of, your second album, Second Hell, Soft Hell. What am I? Second album. Second album. That's why it's in my head.
That's
Yeah.
the double
That's
record
where
set
you're
that's going to come with all the outtakes. That's
Yeah.
the outtakes.
Dude, that's the like
The trifold.
next pressing that's like blown out of proportion,
Second
and it's
Hell.
like it's called Second Hell. Yeah.
I love compilation albums.
We're
I love
gonna steal
B-sides,
it.
outtake stuff. Yeah, do it. Definitely do it. I feel a tape for Cassette Store Day next October. Definitely get that ready.
Yeah.
So, Soft Hell, October 26th. How are you guys a different pill since your first album? Are you a different band? Or how so?
Let Ronnie answer.
Definitely the same band, but I don't know. I mean, I think that we really pride ourselves on like not getting stuck on one concept and one idea and just experimenting a lot. And so I think that spirit is reflected on the album. So same band, somewhat of a different sound. I don't know.
I think there's a lot more
It's
of
an
a
evolution.
I think there's a lot more of a sonic confluence now than there was before.
What do you mean by that?
Well, I think we all influence each other. You know,
Yeah.
What?
we influence each other. So
You mean the
for
continuity
example-
or something?
No, the confluence, man. You know, like Dollar Brand and Gata Barbieri. You know,
No, I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
it's a really good. It's a really good record.
Explaining.
It's a really good record.
Explaining.
So, anyway, so what I mean is, we influence each other.
How so?
I would say that I changed the tone of my horn in certain parts of the song, and Ronnie instinctively, without thinking about it, will come in on a note that has the same grit as the note that I ended on. And it's not anything we ever talk about. When John and I write parts together, we can come up with parts really quickly, and I
On the spot, pretty much.
sometimes play things that when I think of myself as him when I play the saxophone, when I think of parts, and then that's what we write together. Is I imagine, well, what would John play? And I think John kind of thinks, what would Ben play? And then sometimes we'll like, oh, this voicing isn't right. We switch them around right away without talking about it. Like instead of being like, that doesn't sound right. It's just like we just kind of naturally all of a sudden arrive at, if we're playing fifths away from each other or something like that, the tones blend together much more than they used to. And when Andrew composes, say Andrew did a few songs on the record where he was arranging most of it, he wrote parts for everybody. Like, think about that person's personal way of playing, and just wrote the parts as like, oh, this is the perfect part for me, And we didn't talk about it. It's just kind of rolling a little more now.
So you guys essentially know each other a lot more as musicians than it helps with the ambiance.
Yeah, I know. Outside
It's
New
good
York
ambiance.
City is happening.
With this album, you guys know each other more as musicians, where you're comfortable enough to kind of experiment on stage.
Yes and no. Yeah, I would say the opposite is true of this album, actually.
Okay.
Whereas we were a lot more comfortable with stretching, like reaching out and experimenting, this record we reined it in. You know what I mean? And like made the edits a little more concise and made everything a little more compact.
Contain chaos.
Yeah, we reined it in a little bit. Like, if the first record is like thinking out loud, this is definitely we had the thought, and now we're brewing in that. You know what I mean?
We like to experiment in the studio, I think, is a huge element.
Yeah, for sure.
But we everything that we, like John was just saying, essentially, is that we are very accurate and precise about how we make crazy stuff.
Yeah.
Like, we do a lot of experimentation in the studio and decide what works and what doesn't work. but generally we'll come to the conclusion of like this needs to go here, this goes here, this goes here. Like the composition of everything is like very intentional usually.
Yeah.
On stage, I would say the only person that kind of gets a little bit more freedom to play is Ben Jaffe.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Dude,
Sometimes
we
I'll
let
like in the middle of a song be like, "What the F was that? I love
We
it."
make sure he gets time to go off, you know, like jazz. Like
Because it's necessary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's also just so good. Like, come on.
I was thinking about someone was asking like how do you guys song craft? How do you guys craft songs? And at first I was like crafting songs, you know, but then I thought about it and it was just someone really wanted to know how we did it. And I thought about when we jam together and we're just playing stuff, and just kind of, if I sense that something's kind of happening, then I'll go and get my phone. One of us will always get the phone right away and we're like, okay, this is the thing, we already know. It's like everyone's in it right away. And so we start playing together. And I don't know if everyone's the same way, but the stuff that I think of to play is not saxophone soloing. It's parts that I think are going to be, okay, well, if this is a song, I'm going to write my parts right away. You know? What would I, like, if I'm just listening to it, what would it sound like? And then I just follow along with that thing already is.
Right.
And then if there's a solo later, yeah, we'll go off later, sure. But I won't just, I could solo over any song or whatever, but it doesn't really mean it's going to be cool. You know?
Yeah.
And I think we all have a sense of that. We all know how to play our instruments together at this point, but it's like we all listen to what the song is going to need, even when it's just being written and we're just trying things, which is a really nice thing to be part of.
Great. I
We're a
love the
band that-
adventure.
Yeah,
The adventure
we write
concept.
songs. Like, there's
course.
songs.
Yeah.
You know, they're not. They're songs with parts, and I think what we're getting around here is like, I think a lot of people, especially early on, were like, whoa, it seems like there are parts of that, there are aspects that are competing against each other. That can't be intentional. You know what I mean? And like, the opposite is true.
Yeah,
Like,
people think we're a jam band sometimes. And we're
yeah,
like,
it's
no.
like it's not. You know,
the same every night.
really insulting comment is like, "Oh, was that? Do you guys rehearse? Like, was that?
We got that a lot.
Was that? We don't get that a lot.
We don't get that anymore.
We don't get it anymore because it's obviously not. But like early on, it's funny. It's like if you stop and just listen to the bass, it's playing a line. It's playing a part. You stop and just listen to the guitar. You know, it's like we write songs.
So,
Just not in the way anybody else would.
I'm not even trying to say that. It's just like that is probably
Like what the common person would think.
yeah.
Like, it doesn't sound like a
Objectively,
yeah.
like, maybe that's why people would comment like that. It's just
we just do whatever works.
yeah.
Maybe it was just,
a different
an intentional burn.
Because people are used to hearing a certain type of song.
Yeah.
They're used to hearing something else. So if they hear a band like you out of nowhere, it's like, whoa, look at, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You'll get that, oh, you guys must be jamming or that was planned or whatever.
Yeah,
you know?
I mean, I know the band is loud, but I truly never understood why people thought it was so crazy. Like, it's a, like, maybe it's just people that haven't seen loud music.
Well, we always hear our own music too often in our own
For sure.
in our
Yeah,
own
for
heads,
sure.
I guess.
Yeah.
Let's move on. I think we can talk about that.
So how much of Soft Hell is inspired by the 2016 presidential election?
Dun, dun, dun.
I would say a fairly large chunk. I don't think that you can completely isolate something that big that affects so many people out of the equation. You know, like,
Yeah.
it's just. I feel like any record is always going to be kind of a physical record of the times as well. You know, when you go
Yeah.
back in history.
But by no means are we sticking a flag in the ground and saying, this is our, you know, this is what we believe, down with, you know, it's, we write subversively, and the music is intended to be aware, but not at the forefront. That's not at the forefront.
So basically you guys let's say if you didn't talk about the chaos that was the last election, it was kind of like, it'll kind of be like the elephant in the room. Mm-hmm. We have to, if we write a song about romance or about a last breakup, it probably wouldn't have felt right.
Sure, but like calling it a political band is also redundant. Like
Right.
what Veronica was saying, like, no shit, it influenced a lot of art and music in the past 2 years. Like, it should, you know? It's part of how we view ourselves in the context of the world. But like, I don't know, like, also saying that is like putting it into it's just categorizing it in this way that it's too weird. It's like an advertising technique. It's too weird for people to just like,
I guess what we're saying,
like, the new political album, you know, that's gross.
Yes.
You know,
there's
but that
always been a dark.
No, but we're also not making. I mean, I feel like, as you said, we're a subversive band, but politics are on our minds as individuals, and we all have our own individual, like our group beliefs, our individual beliefs. But I think that, you know, there's other bands that they are political bands. They have that political agenda that they're getting out. I totally respect that 100%. I don't think that is our main goal.
for sure. Yeah, it's
Right.
music.
Yeah, it's another thing is like what, and I think this is what the cover really speaks to me about, is that it's like almost like, what are we supposed to do about it? We're musicians, you know, like we're fucking doing our best just by ourselves, but we are all broke and we, you know, like we're doing our best. We're trying to be as like good as we can, but like if you look at that dog on the cover of that record, you see the bomb going off in the background. There's this sense, I think, of the dog being kind of like taken by surprise and still kind of doing its actions. It's playing music, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
it's like
entertaining.
Yeah, it's like we're entertainers at the end of the day. Like we can claim all we want to like be political and say as much as we can. We try as hard as we can, but we're still entertainers.
We've used the band as a platform to say things, which it really has been effective and like fulfilling for, you know?
It doesn't make you political, it makes you a person. It makes you a human
It
being.
makes you a human being.
Yeah.
And like and
That's what he means by redundancy, the redundant factor.
totally. But like, you know, close door.
Venue not open
Here, let's
yet.
Okay.
The song, the venue's not open yet.
Yeah, it's not open. Well, you might be playing, you know.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
Where were we? Sorry.
So,
Midtown.
platform. The band is a platform for saying things, and
Yeah.
we do use it as a
Just like anything can be.
Yeah.
It's not about. It's about the platform. It's about communication. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This band makes music together,
And that's it.
and that's a way. That's a means of saying something. You know.
You can say something, but you don't have to say something.
Yeah. Totally.
Well, I mean, I think that also we all are, you know, continuing to learn alongside of so many people, and there's times where I don't necessarily feel like you know, like that I don't have to be the voice for, you know, X thing or something, like a specific. There are so many people that can sing about certain things, and I want to let them sing about it, and that's great. And, you know, sorry, that was all jumbled.
Yeah, that's fine. Midtown. How much of that is inspired by the New York Post?
All of it. Yeah, that's a good transition from like how, you know, how influenced it was from 2016. Me and Veronica sat down and collected headlines from the New York Post over the past 2 years, and that's the lyrics of that song.
So you just took headlines and just
Straight up
that's
headlines,
it?
yeah.
Okay.
And edited
And rearranged, and that is it. Maybe we wrote a couple words, you know, here and there, but the entire song is headlines from the New York Post. So it does kind of look like a twisted, like,
Even
like time capsule of like, you know, what happened over the past 2 years.
I feel like even when people find out that that's what the content is, it becomes a heavier song immediately.
Yeah, that's a contradictory one, because the music is like, the instrumental is so pleasing and like kind of psychedelic, how it like repeats over and over, but the words are dark. Like, it's that's a contradiction that we use a lot. That's like a tool on the record, you know.
I know when I look at a New York Post paper, I pick it up, I see the headline, and I'm like, whoa, that's the first knee-jerk reaction. It's like, wow, really? Like, dial it down a little bit. It's a little bit of hyperbole,
Yeah.
you know?
Totally.
And I kind of get that from Midtown.
And it
kind of
sits at like 400 font size, and it's like in your face, man.
And like the actual news content is so short, but like the headline is very just like, get over here, you know?
Sure, man. Get over.
Wow. So what do you guys think is the most credible newspaper?
Whoa, that's
a great
That's
question.
a good question.
I was asking a friend of mine the other day, my friend from Chicago, was saying, well, which paper do you where should I be getting my news from now? And he told me a newspaper.
Al Jazeera's tight.
Yeah.
Al Jazeera.
newspaper been?
Well, he said Chicago Tribune, but
There you go.
yeah, he lives in Chicago, so.
My roommate Lily, she's actually working on a painting right now that she is taking 5 different newspapers, reads the news in each of them, and every day records what hope she has for humanity based on the stories.
That's a great idea.
And I think she was doing New York Times, Washington Post. She definitely did New York. The New York Post, and I forget the other 2, but the New York Post one was the bleakest.
Of course. I think doing your own research is very, very important. Always, not just now. You know, figuring out issues that not only you care about, but like doing your own research to get your own facts straight. You know what I mean? Like,
but
news travels so fast nowadays that it's like people are like
accredited sites.
Why do you ask that question? What's behind that? What are you interested in hearing? I'm wondering.
Just where do you guys feel the most credible journalism or facts come from? Like, do you read the New York Times and you're like, oh, yeah, I believe that? Or anywhere else?
I would say in general, I feel pretty confident in the Times.
Okay.
Sure. I mean, that's a loaded one, though. Man.
Yeah.
It's
I try to read a bunch of different
We're
ones.
breeding skepticism, basically.
Yeah. I try to read 3 or 4 different sources, and then I also I have this friend who's a history professor down in Plano, Texas. I can't remember what university it is, and I'll say, hey, I'll call him up and be like, look, man, he's a labor historian, and he's always very, very aware of everything that's going on as much as he can. Yeah. So I always will call him up and be like, look, I'm really confused. I got to talk to you for 20 minutes and just find out what do you think is going on, because I'm worried that I don't get it or I don't understand what's happening.
I've never thought about that. Yeah. I actually should do that.
I have kind of a friend I check in with who I trust a little more. He's just more critical than I am, so I tune in.
Does this professor lean any way on a party?
Well, I'll just say this about him. He was a union organizer, and he decided that it would be a better idea to become a history professor and teach history from a Marxist point of view than it would to be a Marxist professor of Marxism.
Okay.
He decided that was a more interesting way.
That's really interesting.
Weird.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming he's more left.
Like, it's more fitting.
I would say so, yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, a labor organizer,
Yep. So the vampires in Midtown. Is this representative of the creepy people that you would see in New York City?
We are.
Or situations that are creepy?
We're the creeps, man. The ideal in New York is creeping out the creeps.
I know
the toughest thing to do.
I know the people in that movie, and I have far too much affection for them to really feel creeped out by them.
It was literally just me and my friend Eliza joking around about going to the Statue of Liberty dressed as vampires. I think it's just a funny image, and we actually didn't even make it to the the Statue of Liberty, because ironically enough, they stopped us from going. I had this giant VHS camera that John owns, and they when you go through security at the Statue of Liberty, it's like going into an airport. There's metal detectors, there's police, there's dogs and shit, everyone is there and they're looking to see if you're going to blow up the Statue of Liberty or worse. I don't know, whatever worse means. Not to mention, we went like 2 days after there was a bomb threat there. So I went in with this big VHS camera.
Oh, wait, you neglected to tell me that.
What?
That there was a bomb threat there.
I mean,
That's probably
that's
why.
still...
Yeah,
but
like
still,
a huge piece of machinery that looks ancient.
No, but like still, it's like literally I was sitting there, we had an ancient piece of technology, yes, and it went through the thing and everyone was like, what is this? I had to explain what a VHS was to one of the employees. They did not know what a VHS is.
Sad.
Like old tape.
How old was this person?
It was an old white lady. Like
Oh, that's crazy.
It was
should
kind of
know, though.
cute. It was
She
kind of
should
cute.
know.
Yeah, she should know, but whatever. I didn't. Whatever. I'm not judging. But the irony of the whole situation was that there was like my friends who were dressed as vampires, which is already weird, were standing there and like watching people go by with like filming us with their iPhones, and then also there were people with like big old 5D cameras like that you can take an episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm. You could like film an episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm with, and the only reason that we were being stopped was because everyone was like, why do you have this really old thing? Are you gonna make a commercial out of this? Are you gonna sell this? And I was like, no, I mean it's not. I mean it's gonna go online, but like it's actually harder to put this online than those people filming us and walking by right now and going inside to the Statue of Liberty.
You always have to say, I'm a student.
Yeah,
It's
and
a
I should have said it's
That is the password.
But they actually were like, I was almost in, and then at the last second, this like one lady walks up and she's like, nah, bye, and they did not refund my my tickets, and it was like $170 bucks. It was bullshit.
So the vampires don't really represent anything.
No,
Just a
vampires.
fun thing.
No, they do.
They do.
Okay.
Of course they do.
Because he had
to the
had the concept, and at first we were like, I don't know, let's talk about it. But then we all warmed up to it. For me personally, it feels like the idea of a vampire, like psychic vampire city, like is full of energies that want to drain you.
It's a pretty overt metaphor, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it has everything to do with what our country stands for in a lot of ways, in my opinion. But I also think it's funny. Like
Yes.
we literally like have.
Also, vampires rule.
And you're kind of late on the vampire craze, though. Like if this video came out in 2009, forget it.
Yeah.
We started listening to.
We're starting it over again.
Ah, okay.
So,
Right,
it's a
right.
10-year
Like
cycle.
vinyl.
10-year cycle. Yeah.
It's the reboot.
Also, Robert Pattinson doesn't have a fucking patent on vampires.
Who's Robert Pattinson?
Isn't he the actor?
He's one
that
of the
plays-
vampires in The Vampire.
He is the
Twilight?
vampire in Twilight.
Oh.
He doesn't own that shit.
He's hot.
And Rice owns
He's just
it.
hot.
He's hot.
Oh, what about the vampires in Life Force? We should bring that back.
I don't know what Life Force is. That
Dunno.
sounds cool.
Well, they're space vampires. They just suck energy out. It's not blood. It's this green, like, ghost
That's a knee
spirit that
slapper.
comes out, yeah.
So Veronica, I want to know what you meant by this. You can't get those genes without fucking over another human being.
I feel like that's like the ditziest comment that I said like when we were having that interview.
Was that Rolling Stone?
Yeah. I will admit, like I read that and I cringed a little. I was like, we were just like kind of riffing on she had asked us how we felt about the title, what it represented to us, and we were kind of just like riffing on it, and it came out. But it's true. I mean, like everyday commodity is on the backs of other people.
So if I buy a new pair of jeans, I'm a jerk because I need new pants, Veronica.
I don't think you're necessarily a jerk. Everyone buys clothes. It's a thing. I think it's good to be aware of. And
Beware of what it costs when something is lower priced. Be aware of that. We're the ones that don't pay for that part of it. Materials,
labor.
The labor, yep. And it's like, well, they're, I don't know, like $30 brand new jeans, that I like to wear, and then I think about it, I'm like, well, where are they made? How much did the person that make these get? And we don't pay for the thing, we pay for what it takes to make the thing.
Yeah, there's no reason to feel guilty about buying a pair of pants or an iPad or an iPhone or anything like that. I mean, you just have to know the fact that there are resources that you are using that are, not necessarily available to every person on the planet, and that it's a good thing to check oneself, and it's especially important for us as a culture. I mean, I guess this isn't a huge message that we're having, is that
We're up for sound checking, just to let you know.
Politics is your body. Your body is politics. You are politics. You exist within a body that is politics, and you have to understand that, but you also don't have to feel guilty all the time. You just have to recognize the fact that what you do walking down the street is politics. And I think a lot of people don't recognize that.
Yeah, so it's every decision that you make.
Yeah.
Right.
And there's no reason to feel guilt about it, but
your money goes places. It's just about being more.
You can feel some guilt.
No, but don't.
But
being more self-aware.
You will feel guilt. I mean, we are
dwell
humans.
on the guilt,
naturally
dwell on the
feel
positive,
things.
trying to change.
And
something.
you can definitely make choices in your life that could make a difference. I think that's possible.
But that's a part of it too.
Yeah.
That you have, because you are a body that is political, every choice you make is a political action.
Yeah.
All right. Soft Hell.
Boom.
October 26th. Where can people follow Pill?
Everywhere. Go to pillpop.cool. That's where everything is.
Pill the band, Instagram.
Yeah, we're on Gram. We're on Facebook, Spotify, everywhere.
Great. Thanks a lot, Pill.
Thank you
Thanks so much, Peter.
Woo!
Big thanks to Pill for hanging out on My Little Underground, and definitely listen to their new album Soft Hell on Mexican Summer, and check them out at Rough Trade in Williamsburg, Brooklyn, December the 14th. And if you can, check out the Mexican Summer 10th Anniversary Show, Pioneer Works in Brooklyn, November the 17th. That is tomorrow, Saturday, as I'm recording this podcast. And my second guest comes all the way from the Netherlands, and she's currently on her first U.S. tour, supporting her new EP, A Tale So Familiar. And I caught up with her at the Rockwood Music Hall in New York City, and she played solo, no band, and it was captivating. And you know what? I am not the biggest fan of solo sets, but Nana was incredible. And a lot of my former guests on My Little Underground play incredible solo sets. Sophie Allison of Soccer Mommy, well, she wasn't a guest on the show. Hopefully she'll be on the show sometime. She played a solo set at K9 Records holiday party in Alphaville a couple of years ago, and it was awesome. And some of my former guests, my real former guests, Astronato, my very first guest on My Little Underground, plays an impeccable solo set. If you ever get a chance to come to Long Island and hang out, and Astronato was playing, definitely go check him out. He's a one-man show, and he tears it apart. It's so creative. Jackie Mendoza, formerly of Ginger Lee's, plays an amazing and very, very creative solo set. I actually saw her play at a house show at her house, and she tore it apart. Amazing. And Cara Goldstein of Small Data plays a very, very interesting solo set as well. And I guess I don't hate solo sets as much as I thought. So let's welcome Miss Nana Adjoa from the Rockwood Music Hall. But here's one thing to note. The Rockwood Music Hall has a performer every hour, and at least the show that I was at, they share a green room, so you're going to hear a lot of sounds of doors opening and closing because people are coming in, because there's one green room that everybody has to share. Nana Adjoa is on My Little Underground. So you've never been to New York before this tour?
I have been here, I think it was over 10 years ago, just with my stepdad, and he was working, and I wasn't not a serious musician then yet, so it was just, doing the tour stuff. And also now I'm just here for 3 days, so got to do some tourist stuff again, but
Right.
I really love it. I actually, I would really like to come back and be here for over a month, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is this your first time in Rockwood as a musician?
Yeah,
in New York?
Yeah, in New York, yeah.
How do you like it so far?
Yeah, it's great. Like what I said, I'm staying in Brooklyn. So I got to see most of it. I mean, it's such a big city, you know, you can't see it all in 3 days. But yeah, I enjoyed the show and I enjoyed the audience. So yeah.
So you coming from Netherlands, did you have a concern as to would people come to my show, me never playing in New York? Was there a fear of that or no?
Yeah, well, this is a communion night, so it's a showcase evening, so it's some different bands playing, so yeah, you keep your expectations low, you know, like I'm just gonna play there and maybe one person will show up, we'll see, but the turnout was nice, so yeah, you just it's a first show, just I think it's good to be realistic about it and see what happens. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, you had a good turnout. People seem to like what you got going on.
Yeah, it was a good fight, and good first show.
Right. It must be challenging to do that by yourself, no? Or when you're with your band, do you feel more comfortable?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Yeah, because also, my bandmates are, mostly friends, so it's like you're traveling with friends, and that's always more fun, but it's also a different experience to play solo sets. And for these kinds of evenings, it's interesting just to go back to the base of the songs, and it's pretty cool. Yeah.
That's a good way to put it. The root of where the songs might have started when you started writing them.
Exactly. Yeah, it's like going back to way back. Like, oh, this is the grid of the song, the lyrics, and this. It's really, really basic.
Right. So I want to go back to the beginning for a second. When you were young, you asked your mom for a bass guitar. Why? Why was that?
Well, me and my friends, we were in, we call it basisschool. It's like when you're from 4 till 12. For us, it's like the lowest school. We wanted to start a band because we were a fan of the Chili Peppers, actually. And the other guy played drums.
The Red Hot Chili Peppers?
Yeah, the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Yeah. Because they just released, I think, Californication, which, it's like halfway their career, but we were like just getting into that. Yeah. And then, one of my friends already played the drums and the other one played guitar, so it was like, okay, then you have to play the bass. It's pretty classic. And then I asked my mom, and she was like, oh, that's funny, because I used to play the bass, which I didn't know. So, it's really a classic story.
You must be a fan of Flea.
Yeah. I was a real big fan. Yeah, I don't play anything like style-wise, nothing like him, but yeah, it was just, I think the whole band, they were like this really strong characters, and you just wanted to be in a band because it was fun, and they were just so, I don't know, energized, and all good players on their own instruments, and really like, these characters.
Exactly, yeah. I don't know if you saw, I think Woodstock 99, when the Chili Peppers were playing, Flea was on stage completely naked. Yeah. And he was jumping up and down, still playing all the notes. Yeah. I was like fascinated.
Crazy. Yeah.
Yes.
And I still, when I listen back to their albums up to By the Way, I think, I still get chills, because it was like, the first songs that we just played with the band. We also rehearsed at my cellar of my parents' place. Yeah, all the way cute, of course.
Yeah. So you studied at the Amsterdam Conservatory of Jazz, and you studied jazz specifically, obviously, right? Yeah. So why did you drop out?
Well, I didn't drop out of school, but I dropped out of the jazz playing. Yeah. So I finished school, but it was with some troubles. I don't know. When I finished high school, I was like, I was in a different band with a couple of people who were really talented, and they were all like, we're gonna go to that school and we're gonna go to the conservatory. So I was kind of drawn to it as well because of them. but not really knowing yet what I wanted to do with music. I was writing songs already at that point, but too shy to ever share with anyone. So I was playing the bass, and that was the best, school department to study bass. So I was like, let's just try. And I just got, let's do audition, and they were like, we see some talent, but you're not that good yet. And I also didn't score that high on my theory exams and stuff, so I really had to back up, like, please let me go, I will work as hard as I will. I was really like ass kissing, and then we're like, okay, you're good, you're admitted. So the first 2 years were really cool, and I learned a lot, but after that I just, like a lot of people have in school, you kind of get some resentment towards the school and also towards music. So outside of school I didn't play any jazz. I just played in pop bands, or just the complete opposite of what I was doing in school.
Right.
Yeah, and then I finished school for 1 year. I think I didn't do that much in music, and then I slowly started to do my own thing.
What did you learn
In school?
Yeah.
Well, first 2 years I really like a lot of theory and history, and like really school-wise, and I think that's actually really good. But most things are still, well, I don't know if you put it like that, but I learned the most from my co-students, like people. Some of them I still play with in my band, or some of them I still come across on festivals and stuff. And, the people you study with or play with are the most inspiring people, because you're so close to each other. You can just like see how the other guy or girl does it. It's like that's really inspiring.
That's fascinating, because when I was in college, I learned a lot from the people I was working with, and that kind of helped me get a job. And I think that's so cool that you kind of learn outside of the curriculum. You kind of learn from the people that you're kind of going on that journey with.
Yeah.
So ultimately, like, outside of school, how instrumental was your family to your music?
Well, I think my parents are both music lovers, so there was a lot of music playing at our home, and a lot of like soul and jazz. Not that much jazz, but like jazzy stuff. They were just really supportive of me going into music, because my mother played the bass, but she actually quit when she got pregnant with me. So she was like, "Oh, cool, you can just continue my dream." And they were supportive. Like, of course, the question is like, how are you gonna ever make money of this? We're point of discussions often still are. But they are still they supportive of doing something you love, and they love music. So
tell me about your experience playing in a high life band. Is that right?
High life band. I've never played in a high life band.
Mm-hmm.
My mother played in a high life band.
Oh, right. Okay.
So that's like a Ghanaian or like West African kind of style of music. Rose like in the 50s in Ghana. When my mom was living in Amsterdam in the 80s, there were a lot of Ghanaian people coming to the Netherlands, like illegally. Also, my father was there illegally, but she met these people, and she loved to play the bass. She was like a real fan of funk and funkadelic apartment kind of stuff, and then she met some Ghanaian band musicians, and she started playing with them. But like I said, she quit playing when she got pregnant with me.
So how would you describe high life music?
Well, it's got like a lot of, it's very rhythmic music. It's like I love the guitars, like they're always out of tune, but always playing like this staccato kind of short notes, really rhythmically, and the bass is also very melodically, but almost like in a drum kind of way. Like the beats are all from the bass, or the onderkant is how we say it, like the bass and the drums, like the how do you say it, the foundation.
Mm-hmm.
It really comes from the old rhythms of the drums. So the drums are melodically like really simple, like high and low stuff, and in the bass you can hear that. You also got the first like trumpets and.
So, what form of American music would you compare High Life to, if there is any?
Wow, it's a good question. I won't know the answer, but I would think it would be somewhere down south. Yeah, more than like the New York kind of jazz department. But yeah, I'm not really schooled yet in, or I don't have that a lot of knowledge about the history of American music. I mean, there's so much history. I know some stuff, but like the way back, like early New Orleans stuff and stuff. I'm not sure. I think it's somewhere there, but I wouldn't know how to. Yeah, I don't know the terms or the players.
So jazz and rock and roll would be best compared to High Life, or no?
Well, I think High Life got inspired by a lot of music that was in the States and got there, and people listened to that and then incorporated it with like the native music, and that got this really strange kind of collaboration of styles, like some fusion kind of styles that were like hearing for the first time overseas music and then trying to emulate that in a way.
Okay.
I think, but I'm not a scholar, so.
All right. DOOA, one of your songs in your new EP, talks about the downside of growing old. But I want to know, is there any positives you see to growing old?
Yeah, of course. Like to grow up and to see your possible children have children, and see like this growth or this continuing of life, I think is beautiful. So when you get to that age that you can like look back and see like all these people that came out of your kind of history of your tree, and just that I think I'm 27, so I don't know, I'm not there yet.
Yeah.
But I think it was pretty inspiring to have like that feeling of people you really created in a way. Yeah. So with old age you can just look back and see that, but it doesn't have necessarily to be good. But I think that's just a thing you can only see when you're reach that age.
You're going through it whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Yeah.
So are you afraid of growing old?
Afraid? Yeah, maybe a bit. It's like the unknown. And this song is more about me watching my grandma, and there's a big difference between growing old in like the Netherlands and in Ghana, because in Ghana a lot of people they take care of their families, and everybody, like nephew and for family, everybody's family, and it's big communities, and everybody's gonna take care of everybody. But in the Netherlands, and I think a lot of Western civilization kind of places in Europe, people who grow old just kind of vanish into this homes and stuff. So so it's also depending on the culture you're in. But,
right.
That was just me seeing my grandmother really being lonely in this house with all these these old persons, they're like just wasting away. That's really sad. I don't want to grow old like that. So I'm a bit afraid about doing that.
As long as you take advantage of your present, I don't think growing old will be that bad. Because when you grow old and you look back on your youth, like, oh, I did a lot. So I guess you know what I mean.
Maybe, I hope that's the case. Maybe. I also know from my grandmother, she looked back and also she was like a bit bitter about the things she didn't do. So it doesn't depend. It depends on your ambitions. Maybe when you're old and you're like, pretty great life, or you're like, yes, at this certain point in my life to certain things.
So on Sometimes Love is Evil, you're talking about the dark side of love. Is that right?
Yeah, you can call it the dark side of love, like the not so great side of love. True. Yeah, that's what it's about.
What are some of the dark sides of love to you?
Well, I don't know how to pronounce it in English. I think it's unrequited love, like so what do you call it? Like when you like somebody but they don't like you.
Yes.
That's a bad version.
I've been there before.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that can be really, really harsh. And you just want to stop loving somebody because you know it's never going to work, but you can't just turn off.
You can't do exactly.
No, that's a terrible feeling. But also, when you do love someone and you had like a mutual acceptance of that love, but it doesn't work in a way that's healthy, that's also painful. You know, like okay, we both love each other, but that's apparently not enough. Yeah, so yeah, I think that there are a lot of angles to love that are really complicated. And just yeah, you can think about it later on. You can like think back, but when you're in this feeling, it's like this.
Yeah,
you know?
It's like a thing you just want to cut out of yourself, but you can't do that.
Exactly, and yeah, I mean there are a lot of love songs, and they're either positive, like it's the greatest feeling, or either negative, it's the worst feeling ever. But most of the time they're like in a version of very like a woman having this thing. I don't feel like that's the right. Yeah, it's, for me that's like a simplification of this feeling, which is love, because it's sometimes so much more complex and you just don't know what you're doing, what the other one is doing, and sometimes there's another one involved and it's like a three-way.
Oh no, that's very soap opera like.
No, but I mean like three, you know, like yeah, it's jealousy and everything. Yeah, it's a very mixed up situation.
Yes. So your parents became very religious as you got older. Did you share any of the beliefs that they grew to appreciate, or no?
Well, it was a difficult time because they got separated, and afterwards they both got religious. So that, when you're a child, you're trying to understand why your parents get separated, and then they changed the foundation of your beliefs. Like they were pretty liberal before. It's like a lot of things happening at the same time. So at first you're just rebelling against it, and so they try to teach me some of the things, and I got a lot of Bible scripture and stuff with me, but I don't believe it in the way that they did, because they started believing for different reasons. For having this this life-changing experience. But when you're a kid and you're just told that all of a sudden the world is molded differently, it's really hard to believe.
And you're supposed to accept Christ as your Savior, just like that.
Do it. Yeah, that's you can try, but that's not how it works. And my brother is a little bit younger, so he didn't really get divorced. He was too young to understand it. But he is very religious right now, so I think it depends on what age you were in this situation. For me, I was a bit too old.
Right.
Too rebellious. Yeah.
So you've taken a lot of inspirations from the Bible. Now, what themes from the Bible inspire you?
Well, it does inspire me, but I don't think it's different. It's really like there are themes in life in general, and they're also in the Bible. So it's like the Bible stories are very explicit and very dramatic, like Shakespearean kind of stuff. But it's just general life and then situations that are also in there. And maybe I like the dramatics of the Bible, but it's not like they're only from there. But so the position of women, in the world is it's pretty. It's something that a lot of people write about now, and it's in the Bible with different stories with different angles, and so that is for me inspiring to look at these stories about Mary Magdalene, and to think about what these stories mean for me at this time of day.
All right, Nana Adjoa, your first U.S. tour, A Tale So Familiar. When is it out officially?
This week, I think November 7th, so it will be tomorrow. I'm not sure.
Oh wow, already? Oh my god, time flies when you're having fun.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you.
Big thanks to Nana Adjoa for hanging out with me on level 17 of My Little Underground. Her new EP is A Tale So Familiar. Go get that. Go listen to it. Go stream it. Whatever. Just make sure you hear it. And Pill, big thanks to them for hanging out with me as well. Their new album is Soft Hell, and they're playing Mexican Summer's 10th anniversary show, November the 17th, Pioneer Works in Brooklyn, and they're also hanging out at Rough Trade in Williamsburg on December the 14th. It's level 17 of My Little Underground. I'm Peter A. Hang with me on Twitter and Instagram at Peter A Radio, and subscribe to the show at MLU Pod on Twitter and Instagram, and subscribe to My Little Underground wherever you get podcasts. I've been Peter A, and I'm out.